All right. Well, good morning, New Mexico.
Good morning.
It's a beautiful morning to be here with all of you and to be here, of course, with my dear friend and colleague, Senator Ben Ray Lujan and his amazing family, his mother, his sisters, and his partner. And, of course, in the presence of the spirit of the late Speaker Lujan, and to be able to celebrate his life and legacy and service in this chamber. Lieutenant Governor Morales, Senator Pro Tem Stewart, Leader Worth, Speaker of the House, that feels really good, Javier Martinez, and distinguished members of the New Mexico Legislature, it is truly an honor to be here with you today. And it's good to be home, not only here in New Mexico, but here in the People's House, in the Legislature, where I was so honored to have the opportunity to serve with so many of you here in this chamber in what is one of the most diverse, the most female, the most LGBTQ+, and the most progressive legislatures in the history of the state of New Mexico. This chamber is made up of New Mexicans from every walk of life and every corner of this state. And you come here every January because, like me, you are called to serve. You believe in our people, you believe in New Mexico, and you are here to fight every single day that you are serving in the legislature for our communities. Why? Because we are New Mexicans, and we are strong, and we are united, and we are resilient. As a people, New Mexicans are full of grit and heart and determination, and this is our moment. This is our moment to seize our destiny, to take the lessons of our ancestors that have been passed down across generations and taught to us across every corner of this state, to defend our rights, to defend our democracy, and to defend the values that every single person in this chamber holds dear as a New Mexican. As a people, we have to know that this is our moment to change the systems that have left so many of our communities behind, to invest in our children and their future, to fight for justice and opportunity, to protect our lands and our waters, and to ensure the resilience of our communities for generations to come. This is our charge as public servants and as New Mexicans, to care for one another, to lift each other up, and to ensure that everyone who comes behind us in this state has more opportunity than those who came before us. As a native New Mexican, born in Farmington, and who grew up in Albuquerque, this call to service is personal for me, like so many people who are sitting here today. Because like so many of our families in New Mexico, I grew up in a family that struggled to make ends meet. As the daughter of working people, a seamstress, and a single mom, I grew up bussing tables and digging trenches. And I know what it's like to not know how you're going to make it to the end of the month, how you're going to put food on the table or see a doctor. I know what it's like to struggle. But I also know that as New Mexicans, we are resilient. And I am standing here today as your Congresswoman because of the countless friends, neighbors, and yes, public school teachers who helped to lift me up along the way. Because that is who we are. That is what we do as New Mexicans. And that is the work that I wake up to do every single day, serving our state as your Congresswoman. And it is because of that commitment to our communities, The work that we do in Congress, that Senator Ben Ray Lujan spoke so eloquently about, that we have been able to deliver so many significant wins for our communities in Congress. From the largest bipartisan infrastructure bill in generations to the most significant economic recovery and innovation bills in generations, to the most and largest investment in climate action literally ever in the history of the United States and our planet, and the greatest expansion of veterans' benefits since the GI Bill. We are fighting every day to ensure that New Mexicans and our veterans who proudly served our country and our communities can get the care that they deserve and have the opportunity that they were born to have. That is why my office has held over 700 community meetings across the district since I took office and worked across our delegation to deliver over $1 billion in federal funding, millions to help with the opioid and fentanyl crisis, to address housing and food insecurity and invest in economic opportunity and our youth, because our young people are our future. It's why my guests who are sitting here on the rostrum and here on the side of this chamber are from every single corner of our district, our rural and our tribal communities, mayors and firefighters, healthcare providers, veterans, farmers and ranchers, teachers and students, and the union-strong workers who are building New Mexico. Our guests are joining us from Tohajale, Los Ranchos, Bernalillo, Moyarty, Ruidoso, Sandia Pueblo, Tomé, Valencia, Rio Rancho, and the East Mountains, not to mention Albuquerque, which is the heart of our district. It is this commitment is why we fought like hell until the final moments of this last Congress in December to ensure that we could get the early childhood education authorization across the finish line so that you all in this chamber could make a generational investment in our children. And it's why I was so proud as my first bill in Congress, which was signed by the president just months ago, to partner with Senator Lujan to pass a partnership and innovation bill to invest in our STEM economy and empower our students and communities to build the clean energy economy of the future. And finally, it is why I fought every single day from the moment I was elected to get funding for the Tohajale Community School at the Navajo Nation. And I want to thank Chapter Vice President Nora Morris for being here today. We had a beautiful celebration on Friday with parents, teachers, and students. And what I take away from the celebrations that we have and the tears of joy that we have, that our communities are depending on us. And I knew in the moment that I first saw and heard the stories of the elders and teachers and students at Tohajale, how this once government-built boarding school had been transformed into a thriving community school, where Dene, language, culture, and history are celebrated, but where parents have to drive long distances to work, to haul water, and as our teachers are having to evacuate classrooms as water is coming down the arroyo where this school was built, that we were going to have to work every single day in Congress until we could get funding for that school. And fight we did until the final moments of Congress in December, and we were able to secure over $90 million to rebuild a school that will serve Tohajale for generations to come. Because we are New Mexicans, and we are strong, and we are united, and we are resilient. And when we fight, we win. But our work is not done yet. And you all, I hate to remind you of this, have 25 days left in this session to get the job done. Together, we have to finish the job. This means fighting to protect our rights, including the right to protect our own bodies and control their destiny, to pass the Women's Health Protection Act in Congress and safeguard abortion rights and gender-affirming care here in the state of New Mexico. We must defend our democracy and voting rights. In Congress, we have to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and stand against the election lies and conspiracy theories that continue to undermine our basic democracy and values. And here in New Mexico, we need you to pass the New Mexico Voting Rights Act to ensure that we are protecting these values here and home. We have to tackle drought and climate change by putting those federal dollars, infrastructure and climate dollars to work. We have to make good on the governor's promise to codify one of the most progressive climate standards in the country into law. We have to pass legislation to modernize our water laws in Congress and here in New Mexico. We really need to do this. We must ensure that our communities can recover and rebuild in the wake of these devastating fires by getting the billions of dollars that Senator Lujan and our entire delegation helped to secure on the ground to our families and to help implement the law that you just passed to get that relief there sooner. We must care for and lift up our communities, just as we have at the federal level through our historic recovery bills. We must honor our trust and our treaty responsibilities to our tribal and Pueblo nations, honor our land grants and our acequias and historic communities, and invest in the well-being of our communities, just as you all and our governor have proposed to do, with bills to expand rural health care, to care for our elders, to protect Social Security and Medicare, to address childhood hunger and school meals and homelessness across the state, and yes, to make that largest investment in early childhood education ever in the history of this state. We have to ensure that our children and our communities are safe by banning assault weapons and investing in our mental and behavioral health. And we must act on a bipartisan basis to finally professionalize and pay this body. Friends, our work is not done yet, but New Mexico is already leading the nation. Thanks to all of you and your work in this chamber over the last several years, we are already leading the nation in early childhood education, the extension of support payments like the child tax credit to families across the state, free school meals for our kids, and of course, free college tuition for every single New Mexican. But our work is not done, and our communities are depending on us. You all have been elected to make that happen. So now it's our moment to fight for our communities who've been left behind, to change the system, and to do everything that we can over the next 25 days to ensure that we can change the future and the trajectory of this state. Because we are New Mexicans. And we are strong, and we are united, and we are resilient. So it's time to finish the job, New Mexico. Let's get back to work. Thank you very much.